Hey guys, this is Gummo for my second game of the Good Games tournament that I played last weekend. Finally getting another battle report up. I've had some computer issues. This time it was my Empire versus Bretonnia. First time playing against Bretonnia, so it's going to be fun. And yeah, my opponent was great bloke, so it was a good game. We probably didn't play as fast as we should have. But yeah, fun nevertheless. So yeah, same build that you just saw in the last battle report. So I've got the Arch Lector and a level 4 Light Wizard, a Captain on a Pegasus, 48 Halberdiers, a separate unit of 10 Archers, 4 Demigryphs, 8 Inner Circle Knights, the Hurricaneum, 1 Cannon, 1 Hellblaster, and an Engineer. And his list-ish has 3 characters in a block of Realm Knights. Obviously, his Heroic Killing Blow Lord, 2 Paladins, 1 being a BSB, and then he's got a Damsel level 4 of life in the Grail Knights. So he's got 12 Realm Knights, 9 Grail Knights, 9 Errant Knights, 4 Pegasus Knights, and then he's got 2 blocks of 10 Archers with 5 Yeomen and 2 Trebuchet. For spells, I rolled up Rona's Speed of Light, Shem's Burning Gaze, and Far's Protection. And then for his life spells, Awakening the Wood, Flesh to Stone, Throne of Vines, and Shield of Thorns. The table actually was quite full of little forests and marshes and stuff, so I decided to do my usual castling. So I castled over to the right a bit and made him come to me, navigating some of the trees and stuff. I put my Peg Knight and Inner Circle Knights out to the left just to handle any flank sort of business, and then castle the rest of my guys to the right. So you can see my Halberdiers in the front there. My Archer's just sitting behind the cannon there with the level 4 light in there. Obviously my buff wagons at the back, and my demis are over to the right. So he ended up with Treb on either side and Archers on either side. And then on the left, this left flank, left for me anyway, his Yeoman and his Peg Knight. So there, basically I'm going to send my Peg Knight and my Inner Circle Knights just to sort of try to deal with them. And so the rest of my army can deal with his Knights. Sorry for the blurry shot, but yeah, see that large block of Knights on his left of the realms with his 3 characters in the front, and then his Grails, and then his Errant Knights are out there all by them lonesome on the right. So Vanguards, he moves his Peg Knights up a little bit. He's basically keeping out of charge range of my Peg. So he didn't really make a huge move there. Obviously I get the first turn since he prayed. And very little movement. I move my Peg Knight off screen to the left. My Archers out the front. Start acting as a little bit of a buffer. I did bounce my Wizard into my big block of Halberdiers there. I'm figuring, look, don't want him out and getting charged out with just that block of, just with the 10 Archers there. And I moved my Demis to be 20 inches away from his Errant Knights to try and make them fail their errantry test. Or impetuous test, whatever it's called. Magic was 8 to 3. I just threw some buffs around just in case they end up getting some charges off. So I put Fars on the demis here. Baronas on my big block of Halberdiers, and that's why I put my Wizard in there. And Speed of Light on my Archers. And cannons, so shooting, I guess I was more worried about, I don't know if this is probably a wrong thing, I was more worried about his Knights than his Trebuchet. So I got a cannon shot through, obviously past his lookouts there, and I took out 4 of his Realm Knights. And I think everything was out of range of my Hellblaster. Yeah, so going into Bretonnian turn 1, he fails his impetuous test, but he also fails to charge, I think. No, so yeah, he just fails to charge. He ends up moving up. I think he ends up moving up about 3 or 4 inches with those Errant Knights. Magic was, yeah, very low. He rolled a 3, so it ended up with 3 to 3, I think. Basically, I just dispelled Flesh to Stone on his Errant Knights. That was about it. The rest of his, let's just, I guess, after magic, but that's the movement. You can see his knights have all moved up in the middle there. He hasn't really moved his peg knights or his yeomen much either over to the left, because I've basically put my peg knight there, and I think he's not wanting to get charged. We were talking a lot in this game, and it was quite slow, so we didn't get too far through the game. But yeah, he's a great opponent. Very blurry shot, sorry. That's the left flank. So yeah, this is just a shot of the trebuchet, I think, starting to shoot. So he went for, I think, my Hellblaster. That one scatters and failed to wound. And the other one scattered way off. So I got out of harm's way there. So again, in my turn too, so I declared a long, I think I needed a 10 on the Errant Knights, my Demigryphs. And I just moved my archers up. Not sure, I don't think I charged, I just moved them up there. So magic was 10 to 6. I went for a Shem's Burning Gaze probably on just one of his units. He dispelled that one. My Irresistible Speed of Light on my Halberdiers. Lost the Wizard level, and I actually lost Speed of Light, so won't have that for the rest of the game. I did get Fast Protection up on the Archers. So then in shooting, I shot my Hellblaster at his Grail Knights. I think I only took out one. He made all his saves. And combat, Demis come in, get one wound to dangerous terrain. Took out 2 Errant Knights. Probably thought I would have done better than that, but yeah, enough to make them break and ran them down. So there's some points. And Bretonnia turn 2, so he declares charges, so the Grails into my Archers. And his Realm Knights into my Steam Tank. He's going to Heroic Killing Blow my Steam Tank. Well, that's the goal. And yeah, he makes his charges, they make it in. And I think these guys make it in too, so they're in. And he moves his archers to face my Demigryphs and to, give his Treb another, so I can't get round and charge straight to his Treb. So he gets magic's 11 to 6, and he gets Throne of Vines up. Now I don't know exactly what he cast here. Could have been Awakening of the Wood, but whatever it was, he magicked off my cannon, so that's gone. And he puts Shield of Thorns on his Realm Knights. And then this hurt. 2 Trebs, both hit, slight scatter onto my Halberdiers, and I peeled off 18 Halberdiers. So yeah, probably should have been taking them out earlier. It's just a picture in combat. With the Grail Knights and Archers, going to make short work of them, which they do. And not much happens here. He fails to Heroic Killing Blow my Steam Tank, so we're just pretty much just stuck here. So Empire turn 3, I declare charges. Actually, we go back here. I actually do declare charges too with my Halberdiers into the flank of his Realm Knights, and obviously the Demis into his Archers. And they all make it. So then shooting, I don't think magic didn't do anything that turn. Shooting, I probably aimed the Hellblaster at, I can't remember what it was, but misfired, so it doesn't really make a difference. And yeah, this is end up where the game sort of ends up in the last round of combat. So we end up with that's not so much where the game ends, sorry, but where it ends up ending for me almost. I get a bit greedy and put 5 steam points into my steam tank to try and do 3 grinds plus the steam gun, I think it was. And even though I've got no wounds, I ended up blowing him up. So yeah, I've lost the steam tank there. Big chunk of points. So yeah, when I say it's the game, it's not so much the end of the game, but it definitely hurt me that way. So I moved my Peg Knight. I mean, we just sort of had a stalemate on the left flank, so I actually moved my Peg Knight in a position where he couldn't really charge me. But I thought if we had another turn, enough time for another turn, I'd start charging his guys if he didn't move. And the demis take out his archers, obviously, and get ready to take out his treb. Obviously, I've moved all my halberdiers and stuff into the flank there. I actually moved my engineer up now because the cannon's dead as a bit of a chaff for his Grail Knights, so they can't come into the flank of my, or the flank or rear of my halberdiers, least return. And there's the picture of my Hurricanum for some reason, not sure. So magic on Mimes 9, going to Bretonnia, so there's not much any movement in Bretonnia, so I went straight to magic. There's 9 to 4, he got flesh to stone off. Infinite forces flesh to stone, unfortunately for him. But he does have Throne of Vines up, but he fails his 2-up check on that. And gets a detonation, so, I think he took out most of his, lost 4 or 5 Grail Knights with that. So that hurt. Combatman demis to kill the Treb easy and Reform to come back. These Grail Knights take out my Engineer and Reform to look at my... I can't remember if it was... Yeah, well, look, he would have Reformed to look at the rear of my Halberds. And yeah, I'm losing Halberdiers in this fight against the Realm Knights, but I take out a couple. I think I've taken out one of his Paladins. So he's only down to 2 characters. They've Reformed to get more bodies because he couldn't Reform to take anything out of combat, so he had to go 7 wide, I think, there. And yeah, unfortunately, the time was called, so I only got through to 3 turns. We probably could have played a lot quicker, but yeah, it ended up as a 10-10. That's why I say it cost me the game. I mean, if I didn't blow up my steam tank, I would have had a minor victory there. But yeah, just got to play faster, I think. The going into Empire turn 4, I mean, the things I would have done right now would probably charge my Archlector into his Grails to try and hold them, to keep my Halberdiers alive a little bit longer, and the Hurricanum into the flank of his Realm Knights. I think we would have, done enough to knock out a couple. I think I could have held out long enough. Well, I'd hope I could hold out long enough for my demis to come back, and if that was the case, I think I could have mopped up his Knights there, but it would just depend on whether or not that would happen. I think my Inner Circles and Peg Knight probably could have held out his Pegasus Knights over there. So, if we played faster, we could have found that out, but we didn't, so it was a 10-10. It's a great game. Stay tuned for Game 3. Thanks.